Hey, I'll see you in Rutherford, New Jersey, Minneapolis, Minnesota, Ontario, California, Davenport, Iowa, Las Vegas, Chicago, and Grand Rapids, Michigan. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. There's this article by Elie Honig, the CNN legal commentator who followed every twist and turn of the Trump trial and formerly worked with Alvin Bragg in Manhattan DA's office, is totally devastating as to the due process violations of this prosecution, particularly this stunner. And he says this, so I'll read this to you. In his commentary, the legal analyst stated he respected the jury's verdict, but accused District Attorney Alvin Bragg of bringing an ill-conceived, unjustified mess of a case before an explicitly anti-Trump judge. Prosecutors got their man, for now at least, but they also contorted the law in an unprecedented manner in their quest to snare the prey. Honig wrote, summarizing the case. And here it is. Most importantly, the DA's charges against Trump push the outer boundaries of the law and due process. That's not on the jury. That's on the prosecution who chose to bring the case and the judge who let it play out as it did. The district attorney's press office and its flacks often proclaim that falsification of business records charges are commonplace, and indeed the office's bread and butter. That's true only if you draw definitional lines so broad as to render them meaningless. Of course, the DA charges falsification quite frequently. Virtually any fraud case involves some sort of fake documentation. But when you impose meaningful search parameters, the truth emerges. The charges against Trump are obscure and nearly entirely unprecedented. In fact, no state prosecutor in New York or Wyoming or anywhere has ever charged federal election laws as a direct or predicate state crime against anyone for anything. None ever. So that's the CNN head legal dude guy over there.
Telling you some shit you already knew. Wait, you're saying this case stinks?
Can you imagine? Like, again, I'm not a Trump fan. I'm not going along with Trump. I'm not going to vote for. But can you imagine being happy about this? That you guys have to stoop so low to get a political opponent off the ballot so you can deny democracy to people, because that's what this is. You're not allowing people the ability to vote for who they want to vote for.
That's the goal.
And you have to bend the legal system into a pretzel to do it, and you're proud of that, and you don't think that's going to happen to you someday?
Well, you don't think it's going to get turned around pretty quickly because of just judging the flood of money coming into him after that?
So he goes on to say, standing alone, falsification charges would have been mere misdemeanors under New York law, which posed two problems for the DA. First, nobody cares about a misdemeanor, and it would be laughable to bring the first ever charge against a former president for a trifling offense that falls within the same technical criminal classification as shoplifting a Snapple and a bag of Cheetos from a bodega. Second, the statute of limitations on a misdemeanor, which is 2 years, had already expired on Trump's conduct, which dates back to 2016 and 2017. So he's saying that if the prosecutor had a speck of dignity and still wanted to bring this case, he would have to bring it as a misdemeanor, which no one gives a shit about, which is why he didn't. He had to trump it up to felony. And also if he brought it as a misdemeanor, the statute of limitations would have already expired. So this is a complete bullshit case. This is such bullshit that this is on CNN, and that's that guy, that James Carville, that lizard person.
These three lizards.
Goes on, and he actually ends up arguing. So he goes on and says some bullshit. By the way, the judge in the Trump trial donated to an anti-Trump campaign, like lock him up camp kind of a thing.
What? That's not a conflict.
What's this?
Some of the commentary on this is just downright awful. One person talked about the $35 donation that the judge made to Democrats without telling his readers that said judge asked the supervisory court if he should proceed, and they said yes. So there's a lot of stuff to be flushed out here.
Mr. Carville's right. There was an ethics committee that looked at this and said, you don't have to recuse. Now, but there's a difference between must and should.
So he's saying that the judge in this case made a $35 donation to an anti-Trump campaign. And James Carville's saying, yeah, but the judge didn't matter, and the Trump-abiding judge that guy didn't have to recuse himself. And so what the CNN legal genius guy is saying, yeah, saying that he doesn't have to or should are two totally different things. So
also, let's say they said he didn't have to. That just means they're also corrupt.
they're also corrupt.
And
That's right.
Snake.
Right. So
Is
let's.
this that rapping lawyer?
So let me.
Ari Melber?
No, that's not.
Should. And I would pose this question to Mr. Carville or anyone along these lines. Would you be okay if in another one of the Trump cases, if the judge had donated a very small amount of money, $35, to MAGA 2020, Trump forever, resist Joe Biden? I don't think so. I don't think James Carville would be okay with that. And I think that's the principle here.
So that's how bad it is. CNN is now telling you that the Trump prosecution is bullshit and that partisans like Carville are full of shit and that the judge was completely biased and should have recused himself. Can you imagine if the judge in the trial actually donated to a pro-MAGA thing? Would you be okay with that? Of course you wouldn't. You would say he'd have to recuse himself. So even CNN now is admitting that the prosecution of Trump is complete bullshit.
They just destroyed. I mean, the legal system was always a big pile of shit, but the level this destroyed it.
Yeah.
Because just like January 6th, where they're like, they killed, these are the people that love cops.
Yeah, yeah.
These are people that really respect and love police. You turn them into, they're cop killers now.
They're cop killers, yeah.
Trumped up charges, right? And then this thing, I guess the thing is just do as much damage, Neil Oliver said it, do as much damage as you can before you're kicked out.
Hey, you know, everything's really expensive. And by the time you pay all your monthly bills, there's nothing left. So you end up swiping your credit card and trapping you in high interest credit card debt. Well, guess what? If you're a homeowner, there's help. You heard that right. American Financing can help you. Interest rates have dropped into the fives. That's right. They've dropped into the fives. That's a much lower credit interest than your credit card. So what do? You call American Financing because they're saving customers an average of $854 a month by using the cash in their home to pay off their higher interest credit card debt. That's $10,000 a year. That's right. Make the free 10-minute call. Free 10-minute call to see how much you can save. They never charge any upfront fees, and if you start today, you may be able to delay 2 mortgage payments. So call 888-804-0303. That's 888-804-0303, or visit AmericanFinancing.net/Jimmy. You come see me on tour in Rutherford, New Jersey, Minneapolis, Minnesota, Ontario, California, Las Vegas, Davenport, Iowa, Chicago, Illinois. We're doing a live panel video show, special surprise guests on that show, and Grand Rapids, Michigan. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets, and make sure you go to Jimmy Dore because they don't want to buy it from a second reseller.